hello again. I've searched all over and I haven't found an exit. Maybe finding a way out isn't a test after all.
No, it is not. Regardless, you are not yet ready for the final phase of your hero's journey.
The mentor was right. This is a long journey. But we must be about halfway through, right? Where's that guide? All right, we've learned about phases 1 and 2, but let's recap to make sure we're on the same page. Get it? Page? Sorry, I think this place is starting to get to me. Anyway, let's put your memory to the test. See if you can list all 9 steps in phases 1 and 2 of the hero's journey in order. Pause if you need to. I'll wait. Let's see if I can do it. Phase 1 is ordinary world, call to adventure, refusal of the call, meeting the mentor and crossing the threshold. Phase 2 is tests, allies, and enemies, when the hero faces tests and gains enemies and allies, obviously. Approach to the inmost cave, when the hero approaches their big obstacle or challenge. And the ordeal, when they finally face that obstacle or challenge. And what am I forgetting?
The reward.
Right, which is pretty self-explanatory. So it's time for the final phase, phase 3. Narrator, could you please go over the steps in phase 3 so we can add them to the guide?
Certainly. Phase 3 includes steps 10, 11, and 12. Step 10 is the road back, which is when the hero begins their journey back to the ordinary world, often facing additional challenges. Step 11 is the resurrection, which is when the hero faces a final test or confrontation, often involving some kind of transformation. Step 12 is return with the elixir, when the hero returns home with new knowledge, skills, or an object that benefits the world.
Wait, how is the reward different from the elixir?
The reward is a personal victory. The elixir represents lasting change and the hero's legacy.
Makes sense. I guess it's time for our next story. And this is actually one I'm familiar with. Have you ever heard of King Arthur? Camelot? Basically, there are tons of stories about knights and castles and stuff from medieval Britain, and our next hero is from one of those stories. For this story, the Institute wants us to look for examples for the steps in Phase 3, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. Narrator, the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, please.
In the legendary kingdom of Camelot, King Arthur and his knights were celebrating with a grand feast, when a mysterious figure rode into the hall. The Green Knight was entirely green, even his horse, and he carried a massive axe. The Green Knight issued a bold challenge. Any knight brave enough may strike me with my axe, but in a year they must meet me to receive an equal blow in return. Arthur's knights were too stunned and afraid to accept the challenge, except Sir Gawain, one of King Arthur's youngest and most loyal knights. Your Majesty, allow me. I will accept the challenge to protect your honor. Gawain took the axe and, with a mighty swing, beheaded the Green Knight. To everyone's astonishment, the Green Knight picked up his head. "In a year's time, Sir Gawain, come find me at the Green Chapel," said the Green Knight. Then he rode away. 1 year later, Sir Gawain set out from Camelot for the Green Chapel. Near the end of his journey, Gawain found refuge at a castle owned by Lord Bertilac and his lady, who invited him to rest. That night, Bertilac proposed a game. "I will hunt each day and give you what I catch," offered Lord Bertilac. "In return, you will give me anything you receive here." Gawain agreed, thinking it a fair and friendly challenge. To Gawain's surprise, each day as Bertilac hunted, his lady visited Gawain and attempted to charm him. But the honorable Gawain resisted her advances. But he did accept a kiss on the cheek each day, which he gave to Bertilac each morning. On the third day, the lady offered Sir Gawain a green girdle, claiming it would protect him from harm. Gawain accepted the girdle. Fearing the coming encounter with the Green Knight, he kept the girdle a secret from Lord Bertilac. The next day, Sir Gawain left the castle and found the Green Chapel. "Welcome, Sir Gawain," said the Green Knight. "You've kept your promise." "I have," replied Sir Gawain. "Do as you must." The Green Knight lifted his weapon high, but as the axe came down, the brave Sir Gawain flinched. "A knight flinching in fear?" exclaimed the Green Knight. "Is the brave Sir Gawain a coward?" Sir Gawain was ashamed. "I won't do it again. I won't, I promise." Again the Green Knight lifted and swung the axe, but stopped just before hitting Sir Gawain. "Ah," said the Green Knight cheerfully. "Now that you've shown your bravery, it's time for me to strike." The Green Knight let the axe fall gently on Gawain's neck. When Sir Gawain touched his wound, there was only a drop of blood. The Green Knight then revealed his true identity. He was Lord Bertilac, transformed by magic. The entire challenge had been designed to test the honor of Arthur's knights. Lord Bertilac explained, "When my wife kissed you, you gave me her kisses. For your honesty, I give you 2 blows without harm. But you're wearing my green girdle, which you kept secret. For that, you received the 3rd blow." Gawain hung his head in shame. "Fear made me greedy and disloyal, which is not fitting for a knight." Lord Bertilac laughed and said, "You've confessed your mistakes and accepted punishment. You're forgiven." Sir Gawain embarked on his journey back to Camelot, plagued by shame and embarrassment. "How will I explain this to my fellow knights?" he wondered. "What will I tell the king?" Back at Camelot, Sir Gawain confessed everything to the king and his fellow knights. He expected them to ridicule his dishonesty and cowardly behavior. To his surprise, they cheered his honesty and bravery. "From now on," declared King Arthur, "we shall all wear green sashes to remind us that true honor involves recognizing and admitting our faults." And so they did. The end.
I always thought Sir Gawain's fear that he isn't good enough is really relatable. Sometimes we are our own harshest critics. Anyway, let's make sure we got all the steps in Phase 3. Step 10 is the road back, when Sir Gawain rode back home to Camelot. The additional challenges must be when he agonized over whether to tell the truth. Step 11 is resurrection. Sir Gawain's final test must be when he had to confront the people at court and tell them he had lied and been cowardly. Step 12 is the return with the elixir, which must be the girdle. But the elixir is supposed to represent the hero's legacy. So what did the girdle represent? Take a second to write down your answer in your guide. The king said the girdles were a reminder that true honor involves recognizing and admitting our faults. Hey, look! The next piece of the codex! You know, one thing I've noticed is how different these heroes are. I mean, what makes them heroes varies, but they are all heroic in some way. But what about me? I'm supposed to be on my own hero's journey, but I haven't fought any demons or battled invading armies or anything.
Do you equate violence with heroism?
No, but I'm just listening to stories about heroes. That doesn't make me one.
Is that so?
I want to do something a hero would do. Not necessarily fight a monster, but maybe something a little more adventurous, you know?
Oh, you have much more to learn.
Yeah? Like what? Like what? Hello?